Hello and welcome back. Today is Friday, and typically on Friday I normally have fish. I fry fish. But today I'm going to do something a little different. I had a taste for the last couple of days for some good pork chops. And I was out at the store the other day and I actually came across a nice looking pack. And I said, I tell you what, I'm going to treat myself this week. I'm going to do pork chops instead of my old standard fish. So today we're going to have some fried pork chops, and I'm going to show you how I do it. As you can see here, overnight I got my pork chops. I washed them and cleaned them very well. I went over them with a mustard bath, just regular French's mustard, yellow mustard, brush it on. Then I went over the mustard with some salt and a little black pepper, and I put them in a Tupperware bowl, and I put them in the fridge and let them set overnight. That way the mustard would have a chance to marinate through the pork chops and get in the pork chops will have somewhat of a slight mustard flavor. And believe it or not, it tastes great. Mustard goes well with pork chops as far as a marinade. And that's what I marinated them in. Now, as far as my flour, as of now, there's nothing in it. But one other ingredient I wanted to share with you also that is very good for pork chops is sage. I was just as surprised as you guys probably are. But sage is a very good ingredient when it comes to any kind of pork meat. It enhances the flavor. So since we have mustard on our pork chops, we're not going to put the sage on our pork chops. Now, if I didn't have the mustard on the pork chops, the mustard seasoning, I would put the sage seasoning on it. But since we have the mustard seasoning on the pork chops, I'm going to do my sage seasoning into the flour that I'm going to flour them in. And you don't need but probably about maybe a half a teaspoon of sage. A little sage goes a long way. Now we're going to mix this in. Mix it in our flour well. Now I want to get you guys set up over here on the stove so you can actually see. You see my pan there? I got my grease going. And it's good and hot. Ready for my pork chops. So we're going to sit these right here and get the flour in our pork chops and get them in the pan. Pork chops doesn't take long. It depends. Well, it depends on the thickness of them. A thicker cut pork chop takes a little longer. But this cut pork chops is your pretty much standard pork chop. So it shouldn't take no more than probably about 3 minutes per side. Should be long enough. You don't want to overcook them, but at the same time, you want to make sure that they're totally done through and through. But yeah, a good 3 minutes. 3 minutes and maybe 30 seconds at tops per side, and you should be good to go. There we go. I think I got room for one more. All right. And they're off. Let me get my hands washed here. And I got my stove set to between 7 and 8. And they're going to cook at that temperature until they're completely done. And like I said, pork chops doesn't take long, so you won't be spending a great amount of time frying them. 3 minutes to 3 minutes and a half per side. If you have the thicker cut, you want probably maybe 4 minutes per side. But it doesn't take long to cook pork chops at all. The main key to pork chops is seasoning them well. Season them well and keep your temperature at a standard, pretty medium-high temp in order to cook them. Don't let that temp drop, because once it drops, the flour that you put on your pork chops, it will tend to not be crispy. It will tend to be more on the soggy side because of the temperature is not hot enough to keep to get that crisp on it. So just keep an eye on your grease and make sure it doesn't get too cool, and you should be fine. But as you can see, they're frying away, looking good and smelling good. You guys just hang out with me until we turn them over for the first time, and then I'll let you guys go, and then I'll bring you back and let you see the finished product of them. I want you to see what they look like when I first turn them over for the first time and get that crisp skin on them with that flour. And one other tip, guys, also, remember any meat you purchase, whether it's pork, chicken, beef, veal, lamb, whatever your preference is, when you bring it home, please wash your meat thoroughly before you cook it. A lot of people, they assume that, by it being real red, pink, and pretty, that it's clean, straight from the butcher. No, typically it's not. It looks good and it looks clean, but I guarantee if you run it up under some cold water, you'll see some forms or some particles or something that washes off of the meat. But always wash your meat when you bring it home from the butcher or either the grocery store, especially poultry. Make sure you get that poultry clean in every crevice and every crease. Oh yeah, we're looking good. We're looking good. Yeah, these are doing well. They're doing well. And like I said, you never want to get your temperature on higher than a medium high for a relatively standard pork chop. And like I said, these are pretty much your standard pork chops. They're not the thicker cut. They're your regular cut pork chop. So a medium high temp should be fine. It should be okay from beginning to end. With that 3 minutes to 3.5 minutes per side. You should be fine. Okay, about another good minute and a half, and we should be able to flip these bad boys, and I'm going to let you see exactly what they look like, that crispy crust that I was telling you about. I wish we had smell-o-vision. It smells great. It smells great. It smells great. Oh, yeah. Yeah. It's looking good and smelling good. Okay, guys, I'm going to put you back in the pan right quick so you can see me flip these over. And you'll see exactly what I'm talking about when I was talking about that pretty brown crust, that crispy crust that you want to try to obtain when you're frying them. Give them a few more seconds. And we're going to be right where we need them to be. Oh yeah, we're looking good. Looking good. Just be patient. Just ride that 3.5 minutes out. Just ride it out, and I guarantee you'll have a beautiful, beautiful, crispy brown, golden brown pork chop every time. All right, now we should be ready to flip them. There we go. See that beautiful brown crust? That's what I was talking about. That's what you want to see. Well, guys, I'm going to go ahead and finish cooking these. And once I'm finished, I'll bring you back and you'll be able to see the end finished product. So stay tuned. See you in a minute. Well, welcome back, guys. As promised, the pork chops are done. And here's our finished product. There we go. Golden brown crispy pork chops. And they are delicious. They are delicious. Make sure you give this recipe a try. And like I said, definitely when you give it a try, don't leave out the sage. If you've never tried sage on pork chops or pork steaks or pork roast or any type pork meat, try a little sage on it, and I guarantee it'll wake up a flavor that you never knew was there. You'll really thank me, and then you'll thank yourself for doing it. Well, guys, I'm glad you tuned in today. I hope you enjoyed this recipe. I hope you have a great, blessed day, a great weekend. And as I always say, be a blessing to someone, somewhere. See you later. Bye-bye.